Historically, I have not done a lot of interviews on this channel, and that's because the primary mission of this channel is to give people feedback on their games while they're making them. I'm a game designer. I'm not here to teach people how to code. I'm not here to teach people about the business side of game dev or publishing or marketing or anything like that. I'm very much focused on how do you make your game good in the first place? And a lot of that is game design. A lot of that is creative direction and just how do you make something appealing, which plays into marketing a little bit. About a week ago, I did a call with Chris Zukowski of how to market a game. And this was a fantastic thing for the channel because one of the reasons I don't cover marketing very much is because I think a lot of the people who are looking into it aren't at that stage yet. We've got lots of people who are making games that are sort of at a hobbyist level. They need to get better at making games and then maybe worry about the business side of it later on. And that's part of why I don't do loads of content about marketing. But this interview was really, really helpful because one of the things that Chris and I got to speak about at length was like the relationship between what you make and how well it can do in the market. And I'm going to give you a cut down version of that interview now. So if you've seen this interview already, then click off now. You don't need to watch the rest of this video. But this is just the section where Chris and I are discussing, what makes a good game designer? What does a designer have to do to make a game that is more likely to do well in the market? Because these things are linked. It's not like marketing is this stage of developing a game that just happens after the game is finished. It is all to do with like how appealing the game is in the first place and all of those kind of considerations. So what I've done is I've chopped our conversation down into just the part that's a bit more about game design rather than marketing more generally. I know that when people are new to a channel and they haven't watched a channel before, they're much more likely to click on a video that is this length than the length of the original video. So if you watch this and you like it, maybe go and watch the longer version afterwards. That would be great.
Here's the thing. If I could sum up the most successful game designers and why are they successful, they play so many games. Like it is shocking. Like I was talking to one who made a demo and I was like, where'd you come up with this or that? And they're like, oh, every Next Fest, we play 50 demos and we just rocket through them. They play so much and they just pull it all in. And Derek Yu, I don't know if you read his book, and the best analogy he had for being creative is it's like a puzzle box, opening up a jigsaw puzzle, and every game you play is like adding a piece to this puzzle box, and then it's you as a designer to reassemble these in a new way. It's like, okay, here's all the things, and I'm going to reassemble these things that everybody's kind of familiar with, but I'm going to do it in a new way. And I just find that the difference between a novice game designer or a new game designer and these experts is just the level of games they've played. They've played so many. And like, the red flag I have is when a dev comes to me and I'm like, oh, okay, what was your inspiration? They're like, Hades. And I'm like, okay, and they're like, Hades. And they're just this lack of curiosity. And I find the game designers that are most active and are really good, they're almost historians, and they will tell you genres that influence this genre and this genre. And it's really more of what they're creating is a blend of these inspirations that you didn't know about. You're like, oh, what? This comes from this weird genre that was in this one region of Japan in the 80s, and you're bringing that to it.
The Derek Yu book's a really good example as well of trying to fix problems with genres. So he's like, I like roguelikes, but I don't like these things about them. And I like platformers, but I don't like these things about them. So he's not just mushing together two things he likes, which is a classic mistake a lot of us make as well, is we just put together stuff that we like. Occasionally someone lucks out with like peanut butter and jelly when they do that, right? And it just turns out good. From his perspective, it was like, I'm going to try and fix these two problems I see with these genres by putting them together. It requires that kind of thing that you're talking about, of that kind of historical, being a student of games and taking on board how they do things differently and how you can take this from this game and this from this game rather than just sticking stuff together because you like it and hoping for the best,
Here's one other thing that I see a lot that I don't think people talk enough about it, but I think it's like when indies target casual, I think that's a big mistake. That's a big red flag. I think part of it is a defense mechanism because you say like, hey, I'm making this game, and you super critic come in and like, hey, your jump's a little janky. This is not good. This is not deep enough. Because Steam players want depth. They want super deep games. and you're like, hey, this is like not there. And then people are like, well, it's for casuals. No, it's for casuals. It's not for you're approaching this from a hardcore point of view. No, this is for casuals. And it's like, no, the casuals are not there for your game. They will not find it. And I liken it to alcohol. I don't know if you drink alcohol, but it's like, we may craft artisanal stuff. The casuals drink Budweiser and stuff like that, and their palate. Like when I first started drinking alcohol, I drank this stuff called Mike's Hard Lemonade, and it tasted like lemonade. And it was like baby's first alcohol or something. And so it is not a refined palate, and it takes you years of slowly developing your palate before you are able to understand like a Burgundy or something like that. And the people who make Mike's Hard Lemonade is like a German conglomerate that has global sales and global approach. And all I can do is go into a grocery store and just pull this thing off the thing. I don't have to go find it. And so when you try to approach casuals, you are playing in the big space because AAA games are appealing to casuals. Like when Nintendo sounds so cute, they are a 1 to 200 year old company who have been in this since the 80s in video games, even longer. And they have a global brand and they can do all this global stuff. And that's how they can approach the casuals. That's how much infrastructure you have to build in order to get to a casual person because they don't care. They're like, whatever's on the top shelf, I'm just going to pull it down. Tastes like lemonade. I'm going to drink it. You cannot do that at your scale. You have to appeal to the people who are like, I will study every single roguelike that is released. Those are your audience. And so when you say, I'm making a casual game for casuals, that person who studies every single roguelike, who's the person who's going to find your game, is going to be like, this is for casuals. Out of here. You going easy and saying, I'm going for casuals, you are now competing against Nintendo, and you will not win that battle because you can't reach the casuals. They don't care about you. They're not on Twitter. They're not on anything. They're just like, they don't listen to podcasts or YouTube channels directed by, professors of game design. They don't care. They just don't care. So you cannot reach those people.
Chris is incredibly humble about what he does. He's constantly updating his course. He gets designers in who have made particular types of games to give genre-specific advice on marketing a game. So, for example, he'll have like a designer of puzzle games or a designer of narrative games, and they will help with the course to sort of show how they marketed their game and how they made it successful. He's incredibly humble, and one of the things he kept saying in our conversation was, I'm not a designer, but... And the thing about game design is that everyone who plays games can feel if a design is good or bad. They might not know what to do about it. They might not know what to change about it. But one of the things I find working with the game development community, a lot of us are very, very fixated on the technical side of just how do I make a thing at all in the first place. And then we kind of neglect to think about what players actually like and what they're going to enjoy and what they're going to tolerate. And I think it's really helpful to hear someone who is a marketing expert say these things and say that, the viability of your game in the market does begin with how well it's built, how well it's designed, whether people want that sort of thing in the first place. So I hope you found that interesting and useful. You can go and watch the full version if you want to. I'm going to leave a little section on the end here where Chris plugs his course. And if you're watching this in 2025, at the end of July, beginning of August, there is a summer sale going on until the 4th of August where if you use my affiliate links to buy Chris's course, you're also giving half of that money to this channel to support this channel. And that's really helpful. I'm a new channel. I'm still growing. Currently, the money I make from YouTube in terms of AdSense, in terms of my subscribers, in terms of patrons, is about half what I need in order to pay myself the UK national minimum wage. I would say at the moment it's a partial success, but Chris's sale is a unique moment where if you're not interested in subscriptions or Patreon or something like that, you can do something that gets you something of a very high value, this course that comes highly recommended, and you can support this channel to continue existing and helping people to make better games at the same time.
I update it all the time for the Steam algorithm because the algorithm will change. So the biggest change that I'm updating this course for is all the demo stuff because Valve basically realized, oh, demos actually work. So let's add some tools into the Steam system to promote demos. And so you have to time your demo right. And so I just rewrote the course to support this new strategy that Valve has implemented. I got developers who have made really successful demos because I'm a filthy marketer. I don't know game design. I brought 3 designers who have made amazing demos that have done super well. One of them's Tiny Glade. The other guy is the Bulwark guy. You know, he does Bulwark, the Chronicles. It's called Bulwark, the Falconeer Chronicles. Sala is his name, Thomas Sala. Really funny guy. I brought them on and we just played the demo together. I played the demo and I was like, why did you do this on the demo? And he's like, oh, here's why. So fans of game design are going to love that part because I'm a filthy game marketer. I don't know design. I brought real designers in and we walked through things like that. So it's like director's commentary of a demo. So if you're wanting to know how to do it, that's what it is. Oh, and the third one I brought in was I'm friends with the folks at Black Tabby Games who made Slay the Princess. And so we walked through because a lot of people are like, how can you make a narrative demo? And, once you play it. So I brought them on. I was like, how do I do a narrative demo? We played through the narrative demo. I actually played through it twice because they changed it through there. And I was like, why'd you make this change and that change? So I think if you like listening to the Indie Game Clinic, you're going to love this new feature that I added, which is basically director's commentary behind a demo and the design choices behind a demo and how you make it appealing without giving away the game so that people will go on and buy it. Because it's strategic, it's not social. So I hope you enjoyed the links down below, but use that link so that the doctor can, pay for the clinic.